Right, so here we have a 2006 Honda Element. The issue that we're having is the radiator is leaking because the condenser is pushed into the radiator, maybe from a prior wreck or something like that. So we're going to go ahead and replace the radiator and the AC condenser. So the first thing we've done is we've evacuated the system so there's no Freon in the system, so we can disconnect it. If you don't know how to do that, we do have some other videos you could watch that'll show you how to do that, or take it to a shop and have it discharged. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and remove our cowling here and see what we're looking at for our radiator. All right, so I just have a little flathead screwdriver. I'm going to go ahead and pop out all of our push pins. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to remove this core support bracket here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the hood latch. So there's 3 10mm bolts. We'll go ahead and set this aside. All right. Looks like we have some wires. All right, so we're going to go ahead and loosen. These are our radiator core support brackets. All right, so we're going to go ahead and remove these 10mm. All right, so we want to remove, looks like we should have 2 bolts on each side. Looks like 1 bolt's broken there, but we're going to go ahead and remove these 2 bolts on each side here for this center core. Looks like we might be attached in the center down there. It does have wiring to it, and you can see on the back side here we can see our little push pins. So I'm just going to go ahead and release the wire clips. We'll go ahead and remove our 10mm. All right, so we should be, oh, well, there you go. Looks like there probably should have been a bolt in the bottom of that. Yep. So right, that should have not come free like that. Looks like there's a bolt missing down below. We'll have to take care of that when we put it back together. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and lift the vehicle up and drain our radiator. All right, so we want to go ahead and remove this bottom shroud here. So we have push pins located all around the perimeter, so we're just going to go around and start removing them. There's our drain. All right, so we want to go ahead and drain our All right, so now we need to disconnect our transmission cooler line. So we have a cooler line on this side by the lower radiator hose and one on this side. And we also have an electrical connector right here. So we'll go ahead and first we'll get our connector out of the way. I just have a flat pair of pliers. All right, so now we want to do our other line right here. All right, so our radiator hose, our lower radiator hose clamp is kind of facing the wrong direction here. I'm gonna see if I can use a wrench. So we have a 5/16 wrench. All right, so there's our lower radiator hose loose. Let's go ahead and tuck it back a little bit. Tighten our drain cock up. All right, that looks like everything down below. We'll go ahead and lower the car. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and loosen our clamp up for our upper radiator hose. And now we have a connector for each fan. So we'll go ahead and undo our electrical connector. So I'm going to go ahead and tuck this hose out of the way here. All right, so we just want to go ahead and pull our radiator and fan assembly out. All right, so now we need to remove our condenser. Looks like we've got a pretty good line of sight on everything but the lower line to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the two upper mounts. So it looks like we got a 10 millimeter on each side. All right, so now we have our condenser loose. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and another 10 millimeter bolt on the front side here, and this will be for one of the refrigerant lines. All right, so there's one bolt. We'll go ahead and wiggle this line off. Oh, okay, there we go. So now I can pull the radiator or the condenser more to the driver's side, and it gives me access to the bottom bolt. Go ahead and wiggle our line off. All right, and there's our condenser. All right, so now we'll go ahead and change out our AC O-rings. We'll go ahead and peel them off and match them up. All right, I like both of those. I'm gonna go ahead and put my O-rings on right now. All right, so here we have our new condenser that we got from Auto Parts Direct to You. All right, so what we want to do is we want to make sure all of our mounts there, we have our new rubber insulators, all of our lines are in the same direction. So everything looks good here. The one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the cap here for the dryer, and I'm going to go ahead and pour a little bit of oil in there because the old one is saturated, so there's oil, so we would be removing oil from the system. So we'll go ahead and add a little bit and to balance it out. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of AC oil on the O-rings just to make them seat correctly. All right, so now we want to go ahead and attach our upper mounts. All right, so here we have our new radiator that we got from Auto Parts Direct to You. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that everything matches. We have our two tranny lines. Looks like we need to move the sensor over. Our fans need to be moved over. All of our mounting looks good. There we go. All right, so we'll start transferring over. So the first thing we'll do is we'll remove our overflow tank here. So these are going to be 10 millimeter bolts holding everything together. All right, so now we need to move over our sensor. All right, so we'll go ahead and take our plug out. I have a 15/16 wrench here. All right, so now we're ready to put our radiator in. We'll go ahead and remove our caps for our transmission cooler. And we need to transfer over our so we're going to make sure it lands in our mounts. Oh, this went to the center thing, didn't it? Yeah. All right, so we'll go ahead and plug our connectors in. Lay our wiring down. We'll go ahead and put our hose on our upper. All right, so we have the mount down below. So now we'll go ahead and do our radiator mount. This is our clamp for our hood release. All right, so now we'll go ahead and put our wire loom connectors back in. Well, that one's broken. A little stiffy. All right, so we are ready to put the car up in the air and attach the lines below. All right, so now we want to make our connections on the bottom of the radiator. So let's see, first thing we'll do is we'll plug our electrical connector in. Our lower radiator hose. Go ahead and move this clamp in a better position. All right, so now we want to connect our transmission cooler lines. Put our bolt in. Now this is the bolt for our core support there. All right, so now we'll go ahead and put our plastics back on. All right, so we did also get a new radiator cap, so we'll go ahead and install that when we're ready. So what we want to do now is fill the system up, let it run, let it burp. You can do it a bunch of different ways. We're going to use this. So basically there's an adapter. You put it on your radiator as your cap, and then you have a funnel. As the car's warming up and gurgling, it will work its way out. You can keep this full. This is just like kind of a shop tool to fill up a cooling system to get all the air out of it. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll start doing that. But other than that, we just got to put our cover on, recharge our AC. Put it under a vacuum, evacuate it, and then recharge it.